G'day there folks, it's Connie here again from Marky Industries. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. We're back with some more stories from Reddit, so sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, kicking things off on Am I the A-hole, this one was written by user Own Ingenuity, and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? My best friend is getting married this June, and I'm one of the bridesmaids. Her bridesmaid's trip is set for the end of May in Chicago. We'll be driving there, and it's over 4 days. However, I don't want to attend the trip anymore. We have booked the Airbnb, which was $176 per person, and I paid my portion. Her demands from us for a wedding have gotten out of hand. Her wedding is over 3 days, and we have 3 different bridesmaids' dresses which have cost me $700, and it cost $200 to get them altered. Makeup for the weekend is $225 per person, and I haven't even gotten my shoes or jewelry. Not to mention, she is requiring us to have certain hairstyles, which would require hair extensions, which would cost me at least $200. Financially, this is becoming too much for me. I know I agreed to be her bridesmaid, and I'm willing to fulfill my duties during the wedding. However, going to Chicago and spending all that money is something I'm no longer willing or able to do. I won't be asking back my portion of the Airbnb because that was my contribution I made willingly. I have yet to tell her that I won't be going to Chicago, but am I the a-hole for not going? Up until now, I've attended and participated in every way as a bridesmaid and been there where she needs me, but this trip is too much. Some comments. Info, did you talk to her about it becoming a financial burden for you? And if so, did she try to accommodate some of the costs for you? OP says, I have talked to her about the change in my financial situation, mostly because of a job change and also unexpected health costs for a health condition. She did help with the dress alterations by sending me $50, so that made my contribution $200. Every help counts and I deeply appreciate it, however it still doesn't change that Chicago is a stretch for me. Not the a-hole, those are outrageous demands. Who is this chick? Is she super wealthy? Opie says, let's just say the wedding costs way more than the down payment for a big house. Wow, that's insane. I assume you're still going to the wedding, right? Did you tell the bride you're not going on the trip? Edit, wait no, I reread. I see you haven't asked. How did you think she'll react? Opie replies, yes, I'm still part of the wedding and I'll be doing everything that is local until then. I'm helping with the wedding shower with the other bridesmaids as well. I have yet to tell her because I do feel guilty for not going, but also I'm overwhelmed by it all. And I don't think she'll be happy, and it might be a little uncomfortable for a while, but I hope she'll see that if I could do it, I would. Yeah, 4 days in another city is a big commitment for a bachelorette party, that's for sure. On to an update. For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut, and I told her it would look good even though I wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. Quote, after our recent conversations, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I can't allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the video and photos of this day, and as we reflect on this day further, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be bridesmaids in 2019, I've been very clear and very communicative in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not inform me in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you'd communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding, so we could have worked together to find a collaborative solution. Your inconsistencies have concerned me, and while I sympathize with your health concerns, I'm not willing to compromise my vision to accommodate you or anyone else when you've informed me in advance and we could have found a better solution. Since this is something you can no longer fully commit to, I need you to please step down from participating in my wedding. End quote. This was 3 days before the wedding. I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the dresses and shoes, keeping in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, and so I decided to take it to court. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I worked with another bridesmaid to surprise her with a bridal shower after our bachelorette trip had to be cancelled. I spent hours helping her out with wedding details. When she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalised workout program and even went with her to the gym to show her the ropes. When I agreed to be her bridesmaid, I was more than willing to oblige with what she asked, even if at times it was a lot of time and money. So, am I the a-hole for taking her to court because she kicked me out for cutting my hair? God, I read about it so much, especially during weddings. People thinking aesthetics is more important than a relationship with one of your best friends. Let's go to the comments. I'm very sorry about your health situation, OP. Not the a-hole. This is not how a friend would treat another friend, and a supposedly valued one at that, since she asked you as a bridesmaid. I'm also sorry you found out this way this woman is not your friend. OP replies, that's honestly what sucks the most. I thought our friendship was much deeper than that. The fact that she was at the house the night before for 3 hours just hanging out, talking and helping her with wedding stuff just to receive this the next day. I know for sure I don't want her in my life, but that doesn't negate that she's someone I loved, cared for, and all the memories of our friendship. Not the a-hole. Since when is cutting your own hair crossing someone's boundaries? Feels like she wants her bridesmaids to be carbon copies of each other. This girl is going to be a real pickle for her husband. Gonna suck to be him. Good luck on the lawsuit. Make sure you add up everything you've spent towards this wedding. She replies, she's definitely a handful. As much as I would love to ask for all the money back, which comes up to almost $2,000, I decided to just ask for the money spent on dresses, dress alterations and shoes because I can't use them for anything. They aren't my style, and selling them will be hard because they've been altered to my body. Info, is your hair much shorter as you said in a comment, or did you buzz your head completely? Are we talking pixie cut or military? Either way, I don't think you're the a-hole, but I understand your friend not wanting a literally bald bridesmaid. It's extremely materialistic of her to appreciate looks over your feelings, but if that's who she is, then don't be surprised she doesn't want a single bald head standing out in her wedding photos. She doesn't care about you. Opie says, nope, I'm not bald, it's more of a tapered cut. For info, I'm black and have coarse hair. Not the a-hole, I'm not sure that you'll win. Though if you file in small claims and she ignores it, then you win by default. Opie says, I did file in small claims and I believe she has been served. No court date yet because of COVID, but we shall see. Even if you don't win, the look on the judge's face when she tries to explain herself will be quite something. Honestly, that's a big reason why I'm taking her to court. I want to hear her explain herself because I've never got anything besides gaslighting and being called inconsistent and disrespectful. I want to see what ridiculous reasoning she's come up with. Was there a contract? There is no contract or verbal contract. I had obliged to every single thing she wanted. Dresses, shoes, makeup, jewellery. The last day of the wedding was on Monday, so I even took off work. The only thing was my hair. I physically could no longer do any of the hairstyles, and wigs are just too expensive, and because of how much I already spent, I couldn't afford one. Now OP updates 1 year later. This has been a long time coming. I've had a lot of people reach out to me asking what the results of the case have been. Unfortunately, I could no longer post comments on my previous post as well. I figured I would wait until everything was done to update everyone all at once. In December 2021, I got the notification that a court date had been set for February 7th, 2022. It would be virtual, and since it's small claims, we would represent ourselves. I began gathering my evidence and created a virtual file which I shared with the court and her 7 days before the hearing. On the day, she did show up. We were given the chance to settle, but that was unsuccessful. When we returned to the hearing, I found out she'd also made a virtual file with her evidence but never shared it with me. The court then made her share it, and what a surprise I had. She'd copied my entire format for presenting evidence. Keep in mind that this is a format I created. She didn't even have the decency or brain cells to make something up herself. The hearing proceeded, and we were both given a chance to share our side. I won't go into the details of it, but it took probably 10 to 15 minutes. In my state, they do not give you the verdict right away, and it can take up to 90 days. And so I waited and waited and waited and waited. Then yesterday, May 5th, almost 90 days after, I got a verdict. I won. She's been ordered to pay me the total of $808.94 for the dresses and shoes. I have to return 2 dresses and shoes I have to her. The verdict goes into effect May 30th. I don't see her appealing it, or fingers crossed she doesn't. All in all, I'm very happy with the outcome and so ready to close this chapter. Thank you to everyone who has been so invested in this with me. I hope this was the season finale you were looking forward to. P.S. My hair and health are doing much better. My 3 bald spots are growing again and I couldn't be happier. One comment says, "You'll probably not see this, but just in case, in your original post you said, quote, 'Honestly, that's a big reason why I'm taking her to court. I want to hear her explain herself because I never got anything besides gaslighting and being called inconsistent and disrespectful. I want to see what ridiculous reasoning she's come up with.' So, did she give any explanation?" Opie says, "Nope, it was still the gaslighting and being called inconsistent and disrespectful. She never gave a proper explanation." Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad you got your money back and your health has improved. What type of evidence did the bride bring forward for her case? Opie says, "I talked to a lawyer friend of mine who said I should show that I never broke any contract or terms for being a bridesmaid, i.e. I was never inconsistent, didn't show up to events, etc., and evidence of purchases. 1. All the receipts for the dresses, shoes, and dress alterations. 2. Conversations between the bride and I dating back to March 2021, showing that I mentioned my hair problems. 3. Proof that she never said if I couldn't do the hairstyles I couldn't be in the wedding. And 4. Proof of being there for almost all events, including planning and holding multiple ones." That's the basic rundown of the categories, I would say. But what did she have in her evidence file? So curious. Opie replies, "It was so stupid. She had screenshots of our messages after I responded to her kicking me out. She also included screenshots of a reporter who reached out to her regarding my first Reddit post, and then screenshots showing me wearing a wig for my birthday almost 3 months after the wedding, which was actually a birthday gift from my sister. The screenshots of my birthday was weird because she blocked me on Instagram. Oh, and she also included screenshots of my Instagram story and Twitter because I was sharing this story as it was happening. Not sure what she thought that evidence would do because I have every right to post on my socials what I want." Can I ask what reporter reached out to her or where they're from so I can search the article? She replies, "I know a reporter reached out to her because she tried to use the messages between them as evidence. I would love to share those, but they're not mine to share, and I don't want to overstep and share personal conversations." Yeah, fair enough, but I'm glad Opie got out with some money in the end. I saw a comment that says, "Who wants to bet the time they spent planning their wedding outlasts their actual marriage?" And I just can't help but feel like that's the truth. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. Either way, we're going to leave that story there and move on to another one. Okay, same subreddit. This one was written by user Not Willing to Share, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for kicking out my mum's boyfriend?" When I was 17, my mum came into money. She tried to keep it quiet, but she paid off my dad's debts, bought him a small house, paid off her debts, and paid for my sister's college, and set up funds for mine. She had a boyfriend at the time, and shortly after, him and his son, who was 7, moved into our new house. Over the next few years, Mum bought my sister a house after she graduated college. Her boyfriend lived with us and didn't pay anything, but he did work. When I was 21, Mum got diagnosed with cancer. It wasn't good. She sat me and my sister down and went over exactly how much money there was. She intended to give her current house to me, and both me and my sister were left with a large sum at the end of it. She asked if I would allow her boyfriend to stay in the house with his son until he got his own place. I agreed. Before she died, she told her boyfriend he would need to look for his own place, but had time to save more for that journey. For the last 4 years, he has continued to reside in the house with his son. I haven't minded because we get along okay. I pay all the bills, but he does buy food for him and his kid. He has dated off and on and mostly kept the women out of this house, which I respected him for. Until his current partner. She's been in my house 3 times, and at first, besides feeling a little uncomfortable, I was okay with her. The last time this past weekend was the point where I lost my crap. I was making myself some lunch when she came walking downstairs. She grabbed a plate and went to grab food out of my pan. I asked her what she thought she was doing. She started telling me how I should look for somewhere else to live, and leeching off my dead mum's past relationship as an adult was pathetic. I hollered for my mum's old boyfriend, and he came down, and I told him I didn't know what he currently thought, but I wasn't going to be disrespected in my house. He wouldn't even look me in the eyes as he mumbled something about my mum promising him the house, and he was just being kind, letting me stay. First, that isn't remotely true. Mum pulled him and I together after she asked if he could stay to set expectations. My mum met him shortly before she won the money and told him and us girls that she had no intention of leaving him money. She did set aside a fund for his son for college when he gets there, but he cannot touch it. Only his son can. He has lived in this house almost 8 years without paying a dime. He should have plenty of money, and if he doesn't, that's on him. I told him he has 30 days to leave. I wasn't going to house someone who would lie and disrespect me in my house. He left that night with his son, but his ex-wife called to tell me I'm cruel and an a-hole for her son losing his house. He's here every other week. I really feel like my mum didn't expect him to still be here, but my sister said she feels like I'm breaking my promise to my mum, and that made me feel like maybe I am the a-hole. I mean, just from the information I've got out of this and the vibes I'm getting, I don't think the mum expected him to still be there too. I mean, it's been years at this point, right? Surely by the time you start dating again and bringing other people into the house, you'd look to start moving out. Let's go to the comments. If it happened exactly how you said, you're not the a-hole. If she did say he had time to save, but he would need to look for his own place, that means she never imagined or wanted him staying for long, so you're breaking no promises. Did she leave him any money or assets? It's totally possible that your mother would be livid if she knew her boyfriend was still living with her son after 4 years. Opie replies, No, she created a fund for his son for his college, but that was the only money set aside for him or his son. It's a generous amount, enough for 4 years at a high-dollar school. Anything not used for school will be given to him on his 25th birthday, from what I believe she told me. A lawyer and an accountant are in charge of those funds, not me or my sister, so I only know what she told us before she died. She was never married to or even engaged to her boyfriend. He lived with his sister and was saving for his own house when Mum met him. Him moving in with us was supposed to be temporary and allow him to save to buy his dream home, but he never left. My mum was like that though. She had a big heart, and sometimes people took advantage of that, especially after the money. She bought him a brand new truck when his car broke down, but beyond that and smaller gifts, like TVs, computers, etc. for birthdays and holiday gifts, she did not leave him money. They had no joint accounts, my mum paid everything, and he was supposed to be saving for a house the whole time they were together. Guessing to the missed things over the years, he's lived rent and utility free in Opie's house. I'm also giving the stink eye to the sister, laying the guilt trip on OP for evicting him. Opie says, I don't think my sister meant any harm. Probably feels a little sad like me that his son won't be around. I don't expect we'll get to visit with the kid, he's 15, and we both like him and have known him for a while. The 3 of us gamed together some over the years, and usually did an outing once every month or two, to arcades or amusement parks, or something like that together. I'm curious just how long your sister thinks he and the son should be allowed to freeload off you. She doesn't have the warm fuzzies for him, does she? No, but she's kind of a pushover like our mum was. Super kind-hearted, but to a fault. Heck, maybe I am too, to an extent. I just don't put up with disrespect. Was his girlfriend shocked and believed him, or was she trying to start the takeover, or at least try to? It's possible he lied to her, but it's also possible she knew, but was wanting to come in and take over. It happens all the time. I would hire movers if they left anything. Do not let them back in. It could be hell getting them out. Lucky they left. Opie says, she seemed smug the whole time, so I suspect she put him up to it, because he and I always got along before this. He didn't argue when I kicked him out. He did text me and ask me to come by this weekend to get his stuff, and asked if I would be willing to talk. I told him my dad and boyfriend will be here, and he agreed to that. And how the girlfriend reacted when she found out. Well, she sat with her arms crossed when he and I talked, but she didn't say anything else. She left with him. Opie responds to another comment. Thank you so much. My mum was the sweetest person, and when I was a teenager, I felt like I was a nightmare to her. I'm thankful I was much better in my late teens, and 20 and 21, so she got to see me mature a little before she passed. I wasn't always the best daughter, but she was always the best mum. I think part of letting him stay so long is having bonded with his son, but also I liked having someone else around who loved my mum too. There were nights I would wake up from a nightmare and end up in the kitchen, and he would hear me and just come make a cup of coffee and sit and share a story about her. His son loved mum too, and some evenings we would get takeout and watch movies and joke about what commentary my mum would have had if she'd seen the movie with us. My sister lives a state away, so we only really see each other once a month or so. I liked not being alone in this big house. I do have a security system and the locks have been changed. He's coming over tomorrow to get his stuff. And to another comment accusing Opie of making it up. Neither me nor my sister were teenagers when my mum passed away. I was the youngest at 21, and the funds have been in a trust, but it wasn't related to this story, and the character limit made me already limit things I said. I won't have full access to the funds left to me until I'm 30, but I can request additional access through the trustees, and I get monthly funds for bills and spending. My mum paid for people to manage both me, my sister's, and her boyfriend's son's trust. Yes, his college fund is in a trust as well, thus why his dad has no access to it. Personally, I love Reddit. This is a throwaway because I don't want to dox myself, and my actual account has photos of myself and my pets. But no one in my real life knows about the money except family, and my mum's boyfriend doesn't even know how much money, just that there was money. Not even my boyfriend knows. Edit to add, journey was my mum's word to her boyfriend when we all sat down, which is why I used that word. She was super into historical fiction romance novels, and she used some old phrasing in real life sometimes because of it. My sister and I used to tease her for it all the time. Okie dokie, Opie updates the next day. I know the other sub is very subjective on updates, so I figured I would post it here. I do want to take a moment to address some things I saw in the comments. 1. There are trusts set up, and neither me nor my sister has full access to the money left us. This was done both because my sister and I were in our early 20s when my mum died, and she wanted to make sure we had some stability before we had access, and to protect us from people who may try to take advantage, especially while we were grieving. 2. I have a lawyer. He has already informed me legally to my area what eviction laws are, and my mum's former boyfriend will be served with formal eviction papers just to cover myself, even after today. So, to the update. My dad came over. Decided not to have my boyfriend over since he doesn't know about the money side, and I wasn't trying to have the boyfriend out of the situation this morning, and brought along my cousin. For easier telling, I'm going to call my mum's former boyfriend Chuck. Chuck showed up about 10 a.m. my time and talked to my dad, then asked if he could have a couple of minutes alone with me. Dad nodded, so my cousin and him went into the kitchen, and Chuck and I sat in the living room. I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to go as it had, but I'm glad it did. Chuck started with an apology. I don't remember all of the words said, but the basics were, he missed my mum, he has been lonely, but not alone thanks to me and his son. He was sorry for what had happened, that he got caught up in lust and let someone else fill his head with ideas, and that he owned up to his mistakes and should have never put up with someone who would disrespect me or my mum's memory. He tried to hand me a cashier's check for $15,000. He said it wasn't much, but he wanted me to know he appreciated me and living with me, and that he wanted to pay back some of what he owed. I refused the check, both in part because I never wanted his money, but I also don't want to give any possible legal leg for him to stand on if this is somehow him trying to stay. I told him the first part, and told him to put it towards a house. He told me he is living with his sister, but is going to look at houses with a realtor next week. He did say his son is asking about our next hangout date, and said both me and my sister are welcome to arrange time with him. After all of that, my dad and cousin helped him get all the stuff out of the house that he owned. He had brought a U-Haul, and he gave me back my house keys. He apologized again and left. Not what I expected, but it went really well, and I feel a lot less like I let my mum down. One comment says, I'm just being nosy, sure, but how did the woman who thought she's getting you kicked out of your house respond to it all? Opie says, no clue. At my house, she just seems smug and bitchy. I didn't ask Chuck about her and honestly don't care. My house is nice, but it's not like it's multi-million-dollars or anything. All of the here's coming for your house comments on my post kinda made me paranoid. Much happier with how he handled things, even if the check made me a little paranoid too. Another comment says, where did all the money your mum got come from? Was it an inheritance? And about how much did she get? Seems like a lot to buy so much. Opie says, I won't disclose any of that, and it's 100% irrelevant to the judgment of the topic at hand. Now for a new update, another 10 days later. This is probably going to be my last update, unless something unexpected happens, but I thought I would just give a quick update on Chuck. So Chuck called me last week and again yesterday. He put an offer on a house and yesterday got accepted. The expected close date is early next month, but I'm very proud of him. I know everyone expected more drama, and honestly some of the comments had me worried, but it's been really good. He thanked me a lot for letting him have so much time here, offered me some money one more time for his time here, which I again declined, but I did offer to help him move in when the time comes. Moving sucks. He put down almost half for a down payment, so he definitely was saving money during his time here, and I'm glad everything that happened was an encouragement for him to get into a home of his own. I talked to his son yesterday after he got out of school, and we're going to play laser tag this weekend with my sister, and he is excited for the new house too. And there you go guys, that's the end of that story. Yeah, great ending there. It's good to see that Chuck came to his senses. Stories like this either go one way or they go the other, but I'm glad it went in a direction that benefited everybody in the end. It's a bit of a breath of fresh air, to be honest. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, we're going to move on to another story. Okay, this next one was posted on Am I Overreacting? It was written by user DifferentThroat225, and it's titled, Am I overreacting? I went on a date and saw my wife calling on his car Bluetooth. I, 28 female, went on a date with a guy, 30. We met up, ate breakfast and hit the road because it's a long drive. Everything was going good. We were listening to music and just vibing, and then he gets a phone call. He was driving so his phone was connected to the Bluetooth, and I can see who was calling. The caller ID said my wife, and my stomach dropped. We'd been dating and talking for 7 months, and nothing he did gave any signs of him being married. He didn't pick up and let it go to voicemail. My mood instantly shifts, and he asks what's wrong. I told him I saw who called, and that he needed to call them back right now. He was going on about how it was his brother, and I said that's BS because I saw clear as day that it said my wife. He goes on his phone and shows me his recent calls, and it says Big Bro at the time the call came through. The thing is that when the call came through initially and he let it go to voicemail, I was staring at it in disbelief, and then I looked away because I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It's possible that he changed the contact name really quick. I told him again to call the number, and he doesn't show me, but he does call someone and I can hear a male voice on the line, and we start arguing. He insists he doesn't have a wife and he doesn't know how that happened, etc. We get to the spot and I try to put it past me, but I can't let it go. If he had refused to show me his phone at all, I would have Ubered home. We end up leaving earlier than planned, and he keeps trying to explain himself, but I can't forget the image of my wife calling. I told him I need some space to think about what happened. Am I overreacting, or is this a messed up prank? That is strange. I mean, Opie seems adamant that she saw my wife, but he wouldn't have been able to change the contact name that quick while he was driving, surely. One comment says, why and how would it be a prank? Have you been to his house, out with his friends? Some people do put sarcastic or nicknames for certain people in their contacts, but him switching up the contact name would have most likely taken some effort that you would have noticed if you were still sitting next to him. You were right to take some time to yourself. Trust your gut. I will add to this as a married man, I've never saved my wife's contact as my wife. My married friends don't either. It's either her name or a pet name. I'm not saying it's not possible, just very odd. Could it be that he had a missed call from Big Bro just before he picked you up and he erased that call from the log? Onto an update. After my post, I listened to my gut and took a step back. I told my ex, that I couldn't look at him the same after that trip and needed space. He kept reaching out with long messages declaring his love, but never actually explained how my wife happened. I took Reddit's advice and did some digging. He's not on social media, but I found him on True People's Search. Turns out he really isn't married, which I already suspected. I've dated enough to know when someone's hiding something big, and this didn't feel like that. So I called and asked for the truth. He put Big Bro on the phone, who tried to claim the car had somehow saved his contacts, and that's why I saw my wife calling. Total bullcrap. When I called it out, Big Bro left the call, and I got into another argument with my ex. I told him I was done and thought that was it. Wrong. He kept sending long messages asking to see me and would keep calling, which I ignored, until he finally said he'd tell me the truth. At that point, that's all I wanted because I knew what I saw and felt like I was being gaslit, so I called. Y'all, it was a test. There's no wife, no girlfriend, no significant other. He admitted to making it up because I'd already been pulling away before all of this, and he wanted to see if I really cared. He was crying, saying he didn't mean for it to go this far. Honestly, at this point I felt relieved. I'd started to doubt myself, and I was right to trust my instincts, but that didn't change anything. I ended things again. And of course, he went right back to the long-winded messages, so I blocked him. It's over. I'm done. Moral of the story, always trust your gut. To answer some questions, no, I've never been to his house because I only do that if I see something going somewhere. Make of that what you will. This isn't the first time he's tested me, so I already had doubts. Yes, I've met Big Bro before, but we weren't close. Turns out he was in on it the whole time. And no, this isn't fake. One comment asks, so his end goal was what? If he'd stayed even though he had a wife, you were the one? WTF? Opie says, I honestly don't know. Like, who would stay in that situation, lol? Maybe he had a girlfriend and got caught. Maybe he was priming me for cheating. Or maybe he just wanted to get rid of me. No clue. He said it was to see if I cared, as if my reaction would somehow prove my feelings for him. It doesn't make any sense, but it's giving manipulative and toxic, and I'm over it. It's called Test and Apologize. I just learned about this myself at 46, lol. Stupid games men play. I recently had to block a guy for testing me. Come on, man. I mean, surely there's a better way to test if your girlfriend cares about you. I mean, let's be honest, you should probably know in the first place. But you see these relationship tests all the time, and they never work. All they do is destroy trust. What an idiot. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts? Maybe you got a similar story you'd like to share. That's the end of that story, and we'll move on once again. Alrighty, over on relationships, this one was written by a throwaway account, and it's titled, Someone Stole From Me. How do I deal with the suspects? Brother, best friend, girlfriend, housemate, and housemate's girlfriend. Bear with me, it's a long one. My grandfather recently passed away, and he left me and my brother a watch and a tin of cash each. We received about £750 each, and the watches are purely sentimental value. I was given the tin with the money on the Saturday afternoon and was too busy to go to the bank to deposit it, and banks are closed Sunday. Between Saturday afternoon, the 14th, and Monday morning, the 16th, the cash and the tin were stolen. The tin was put in my bottom drawer on Saturday afternoon and was not there by Monday morning. The issue is that there was a large number of people who had the opportunity to take that money, and I don't know who did it. Seeing as I don't want to drag everybody onto the Jeremy Kyle show, I'm turning to Reddit for suggestions. How do I figure out who took this money? If I have to go to the police, I will, but I would really rather not, seeing as I have no evidence. The suspects are as follows. My brother, Michael, 27. He was at my house on the Saturday afternoon, as we'd both received our inheritances. We hung out for a bit, talking about my granddad. He only had 5 minutes in my bedroom alone, but I can't remember if I saw the tin after he left. I was more interested in the watch, and it had been a long day. I don't think it'd be him, because he got his own money, but he does need money a lot more than me, as his girlfriend is pregnant. My best friend, Daniel, 24. He came over Sunday and had plenty of opportunity throughout the day. I told him about the money, but didn't tell him it was in my room. Daniel is wealthy as hell, and my $750 would be petty cash to him. I can't see why he would steal from me, but he would have had the best opportunity. My girlfriend, Carrie, 23, she stayed over Saturday night and was super quick to leave Sunday morning. She's been acting a bit off at the moment, but she doesn't really get on with my housemate. I don't think she'd steal from me. I wouldn't be with her if I did, but we've only been seeing each other for a couple of months. My housemate, Kane, 28, he wasn't in the house until Sunday evening, and his girlfriend was with him, and they both vouch for each other. Kane's a bit weird and has poor boundaries, especially with Carrie, but he's generally pretty honest. If I didn't think he was a safe person to be around, I wouldn't be living with him. And Kane's girlfriend, Alessa, 21. I think it's her. I don't know her at all, but she really dislikes me and Carrie. But Kane swears up and down that he and Alessa were in each other's sight the whole time, and that she isn't a thief. Alessa is also super bad with money, so if she had an extra £750 lying around, she would have had her nails done and new clothing and things to show for it, which makes me think she might not have stolen it. Also, I have no idea how she would have known about the money or found it. I've spoken to each of the suspects. Michael and Daniel are outraged on my behalf but have distanced themselves. Carrie is super worried that I think it was her and is pointing the finger at Kane and Alessa. Kane seems really confused by everything and won't comment, and Alessa has accused everybody except herself and Kane. She's even suggested that there was no money and I'm trying to cause drama. Since that Monday, it's been awful. Carrie doesn't want to see me, Daniel has been avoiding me, and Alessa has been really in my face and passive-aggressive about accusing her. Michael told me that it hurt him really badly to be accused of stealing from me. Are there any ideas or suggestions on how to figure this out before I get the police involved? And is there any point in involving the police? Oh, this is like a detective story. I mean, Alessa seems too obvious a choice, right? And also, how would she know about it or where it is? To be honest, I'd be more inclined to believe it's the girlfriend, but her reaction's kind of telling me otherwise. What do you guys reckon? Put your theories in the comments now. Let's read some Reddit comments first. So, who on the list actually knew where you had the money hidden? Opie says, I'm not 100% sure. Michael was there when I put the money away. Carrie knows that's where I stash things for safekeeping, just in general. Daniel also knows my habit of using bottom drawers as a kind of deal with this later drawer, since we've been friends forever. I don't think Kane knows. He knew I had inherited some money from my granddad because me and Carrie were talking about my plans for the money, but he didn't know where it was. Alessa wouldn't know unless Kane told her. So, Michael, Carrie and Daniel definitely knew. Kane might. Alessa most likely didn't. So your main suspects are Alessa and Carrie. Wait until you're alone with Alessa and Kane and tell them that you decided to give whoever it was a chance at redemption. If you find $750 anonymously sent to your account within 2 weeks, you will consider everyone innocent and not notify the police. Then wait until you're alone with Carrie. Tell her you decided to give whoever it was a chance at redemption. If you find $750 in a plain envelope in your mail within 2 weeks, you'll consider everyone innocent and not notify the police. Oh, this is some Game of Thrones crap. I love it. Alrighty, Opie updates 4 days later. First off, thank you for the suggestions. I went with the idea one comment offered. I took each person aside and told them that I was going to go to the police if the money wasn't returned. I told each person to put the money in a different spot. About £100 was returned to the spot I told Kane to use. Kane took me aside and asked me not to be too harsh on Alessa, as she is only young. I played along and agreed. Later, I sent Alessa a text and asked her if she knew that Kane was pinning the theft on her. She hit the roof. She came to the house and flipped out at Kane. Apparently, he told her that he'd seen Carrie taking it and that everybody else was ganging up and blaming her. Kane apparently enjoys being the puppet master. I could fill a book with the lies he's been telling a lot of us. His cloud cuckoo land behaviour is more or less an act. The money was just sitting in his sock drawer. Alessa tore his room apart until she found the money, which she gave back to me. Kane just likes to see people fight. I'm moving out of Kane's place and in with Daniel. Alessa has dumped Kane. I have my money back. Daniel was never that fazed, so he's forgiven me. Michael is hurt, and Carrie is just relieved that I didn't really think it was her. probably going to spend this money on fun stuff to do with Daniel, Carrie and Michael to smooth over the justifiably hurt feelings incurred. So there you go. It was Cain, the sneaky little bastard. I've got to say, it was a great technique he used to ferret out the thief, but I'm glad they got it back in the end. Anyway guys, that's it from that story. Did you get it right? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, that's it from me today. Hope you guys enjoyed those stories. Thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.